Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another video in the inventory component system. We are just gonna keep smashing on videos. Before we start, I just want to say thanks to all subscribers, and there's plenty of new people coming around now. We're almost 4,000 people, so that's really cool. So if you're new to the channel, just like and subscribe, it makes me very happy. And let's just keep going. So multiplayer inventory component system part, whatever. First, before we do anything, there's one tiny bug somebody commented. So if I drop 0 items, it creates an empty item. So now if I drop 5 over here, I can pick this one up and it's just an empty item. So we should clamp that to 1 instead, I guess. I have closed all my widgets. It was about a week ago since I opened this project, so probably just gonna find everything. 1 second. And there we go. And I'm just gonna figure out what to do in this video also, but you have this WB item drop amount where we decide how many items we want to drop. Should be in here. If it's less than 0, it's less than 1, right? So it can't be 0. I don't know. Yeah, so it goes to 1 and then it goes to 5 now. So we can't drop 0. That should fix it. That's just a quick fix. Alright, I've got plenty of comments of things that we need to implement, which is very nice. So on the agenda we will do some kind of shop system, some kind of storage system. We got the basic inventory functionality here, but we do need a way to actually use items, and we do need a way to actually equip items. So people talked about the equipment system. So let's do that. Let me just see. Yeah, okay. So let's do. We have this inventory slot. We can use this, I guess. Yeah, we can use this inventory slot, I guess. Let's try to use the inventory slot first, at least. So what we're gonna do now is set up some kind of basic equipment system. I'm not gonna do like weapon functionality and stuff. That's gonna be another component or other tutorials in the future. But I will do a basic equip system. So in the inventory slot, let's add is equipment slot. Is equipment slot. And this is gonna be instance is editable and expose on spawn. So this means that in our inventory we can now add inventory slot. Add one here. I'm gonna wrap it with a horizontal box. I'm just gonna duplicate this and something like that. Just gonna add, actually we can just add some padding, I guess. There we go. 4 padding. Let's see how that looks. It is not aligned at all. So I'm just going to anchor it to the right side. It's better aligned. So we will use these slots as equipment slots, and obviously in your project you can do whatever cosmetic setup that you want to. You could have like an image, maybe you could do an image of a character and then have this one as the hands or whatever. We're gonna, from all of this, we have this default is equipment slot. Yep. Set them to is able. We're also I'm just gonna set this image to the transparent image by default. See if that works. Not really. Yeah, it does work. We just need to update this one. There we go. So, and in our item slot, on construct here, if the current stack is less or equal to 1, actually we're gonna do it on pre-construct. If the current stack is less or equal to 1, we're gonna get this text here, the stack text. I'm gonna set visibility. And we're gonna set it to collapsed. So basically this means that if there's only one item in the stack, we won't show the text, because like if it's one weapon, you wouldn't really want to have that. So if we pick these up now, okay, no, okay, let's do it on event construct then. Okay. On update. Instead, let's see. So we have this update function here. So when we actually get the item, so when we update the actual slot, that should work, I think. Oh my god. Am I not using this current stack? Why doesn't that work? Five. It does set the item. Current stack. Do. Just gonna print strings to see what it says. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, we create one for each. It does say 5 at the end. That's the last one, so it should. Okay. So if it's false, we should set it to visible. That might have been the issue. Yeah, that was the issue. So now we don't show any actual numbers if it's less, if it's only 1 there. Okay, there we go. Good. We have this item type. So in the inventory slot here, we also want to create a new variable called slot type. And we will do that of the variable item type. Okay, so now we need to set up this functionality, because if we pick up, let's say I pick up this item and I drop it there, nothing happens, right? So we want to be able to drop the matching item into the matching slot. Perhaps I should make an entirely new one. No. Okay. In the event graph, we have the override on drop. So if we drop and the is equipment slot is true, then I'm just gonna get the drop slot and see how I did here. So basically we can just copy most of the stuff from the drop slot. I'm just gonna copy it here. So don't want to drop stuff. Okay. So if this item is a drop slot, we're gonna get the operation, we're gonna get the payload, we're gonna cast to the inventory, we are going to set the held item. we are gonna we're getting the inventory slot that we are dragging. We're gonna get held item, and then we're gonna set the held item over self, and then we're gonna call update. Let's just see if that works. And that works. So we can now drop items into our slot. Yeah, that's good. And now you should also get the slot type. So before we do this, we also need to get the item type of the held item by getting get defaults. And we have this item type. We need to check so that this is equal enum, the slot type that we are currently trying to drop on. So on this slot type, also make it instances editable and expose on spawn. So only if they match do we actually make this. So now let's say the first one is a consumable. The first one is a weapon, the second one is armor. We should also add some text. And you can do images or whatever. This is just to make it easy for you to customize it the way you want to later. We have a horizontal box. I'm just gonna do like this. Or something. 14, that's good for now. Weapon, armor, consumable. Not sure what else there is. Yeah, you get it. You can create your own categories and your own stuff. That's just for me to keep track of it. So now I know that this is the weapon slot, this is the armor slot, this is the consumable slot. You could do like an weapon image or whatever. You don't need to have them in a row like this. You can put them wherever you want to. I'm gonna anchor them to the side. Accidentally moved the drop slot, so just returning that one. Armor. So now imagine that this is a weapon. I pick up the weapon, I go to weapons, and I have this. I also have it on all. And you can see that I can't drop it on these ones, but I can indeed drop it here. So that works, and we know it's a weapon, armor, consumable, or whatever. And let's make the cube. I'm gonna make the cube on armor instead, just so I can use it as an example. And you can see I can drop the cube there. We also need to make sure it saves. Oh, sorry about that. So perfect. Okay. In our what's the time? 22 minutes. So quickly, just gonna make sure it saves. So in our inventory component, let's make a custom event. Yeah. Okay. Set weapon, run on server. And don't worry, I'll probably do the consumable later or something. I'm just gonna set these ones up now. So we have the set weapon and set armor. Not sure what's best to. We need a. The inventory is master item object reference. So let's do a equip weapon, which is master item. Should this be an object? Let's do a class reference for now. It's just going to be a single. And one more. Oh, what happened? Copy. And we will do equipped armor. So here we will set equipped weapon, pass it through, and here we will set equipped armor, pass it through. These ones are going to be rep notifiers. And basically the difference, I'm not sure if I explained this in a previous video or not, but rep notifier is basically equip. They create a function. So right now inside of the rep notifier we have a function, and this function this function gets called every time something gets net relevant. So if somebody connects to the game or whatever after this has happened, this is still gonna be updated. If we did this as a multicast, it would not be updated on people joining later or seeing the event after it happened. So that's why we need to make this a rep notifier. And So yeah, so now we set this. So in exactly, so when we drop okay, so in our inventory widget on constructs, do we have a reference to the player? So on the show inventory, we also need to update. I'm just, when is this better? We need to so there's several ways where we can do this. Basically, when we open the inventory, we want to grab reference to the equipped items on our components and set them to these to be able to save it. So I'm gonna call this WB weapon slot. This is WB armor slot. And they are already variables. So we have this in this F update, we can do two more inputs. Equipped weapon master item object reference, class reference, sorry, and equipped armor. So after this has completed, we're gonna get the weapon slot, we're gonna get the armor slot. So after this is completed, we're gonna update is fine. We're gonna update the weapon slot with the equipped weapon, and we're gonna update the armor slot with the equipped armor. This is spaghetti now. It's a there's lots of nodes going everywhere. It's a little bit messy. We probably need to clean this up later. I'm not gonna do it yet. It's not that messy. It's all right. So now we update. So when we update the inventory, we set these to the saved ones in the component. Yeah. So on this update function in the inventory component, we now also need to drag in these equipped weapon, equipped armor, but we don't actually set them yet. We also need to do that. So in the inventory item slot, I'm sorry, inventory slot on drop, we need to get the slot type. We need to switch on the slot type. We don't actually have a reference to the inventory here, do we? So we need to get a reference to the component. How do I do that? So we need a reference to this one. In our inventory, do we have a reference to the variable? How? No, actually I don't. That's weird. I need to get a reference to it. So in the inventory component, so when I create this widget, so we're gonna open the inventory, we're gonna make a new variable called owning owning inventory com. I'm gonna make it a variable called inventory component. I'm gonna set it to instance is editable and expose on spawn. So in the inventory component, now we can refresh this. And you can see what we got this one. We're gonna do self. So now whenever we create the inventory, we also create a reference to ourselves being the inventory component. Now, it's still not enough though. We also need to pass it through I can probably just do this actually. Helper get inventory component. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste it in. Exactly. Yeah, that's probably fine. So instead we're gonna get the owning player pawn, we're gonna get component by class, this being the inventory component, and then we're gonna set the weapon, we're gonna set armor, and we're gonna match them to the corresponding one. So weapon, armor, and return. And it's the held item, so we're gonna just get the held item. This means that in the inventory we don't need this. I'm gonna delete this again and just refresh this. Let's see if that works. It does not. It might be because of this. So when we drop, this is the inventory slot. When we drop, we set the held item to this right. We update it, and then we get the component. And we set the, I'm just gonna print string here and see if this actually fires. Weapon equipped. It does. Let me see if, where is this? Okay, I always get a bunch of questions for this. Like, so if you actually read the error message, you can usually figure out what it is. So access none means we are trying to access something, but we can't access it. In this case, access none, trying to read class from property held item. So held item is not set yet. So when we try to set this brush from texture from this one, it's because we aren't actually getting anything from here. So I think that is when we set the item. So it's probably set the held item. That's good. Is it here that the issue is? So we're still not actually equipping anything. So this returns nothing. And it's from the inventory component. So this is obviously not working. So I'm going to print string from here and see if this is working. It should be none now, the first one. Should still be none. It should not be none there. Okay, let me pause and figure this one out because we're dragging out on time. All right, I was correct. It was actually a replication error. So on these set weapons, rep notifiers always need to run on server events, and they didn't fire. So let's just set them to reliable, and they will always fire. And that's gonna save us some trouble. So that's gonna work now. I bring one of these in, I equip it. It just literally worked. Oh my god. It did work. I just tried it and it worked. Maybe if I go into here, I'm just gonna try to see if it works with component replicates. That shouldn't make a difference, but it does. I mean, that shouldn't make a difference. Master character, I'm just gonna disable this again and see if it works, because that's weird. Okay. Apparently, component needs to be... I don't agree. I don't think it should. It does, apparently. So, just make sure that component replicates is actually enabled here. Maybe that means I don't have to actually have these as reliable. Just gonna check. Okay, so we don't actually need them to be reliable. It's better to not have them as reliable in that case, because they should always fire on the client anyway. So there we go. It's saving. In the next video, I'm gonna try to actually make them appear cosmetically on the character. I know it's still just like circles and squares, but you get the picture. You could use a sword and an actual helm or whatever. And that's gonna be it for this time. Dragged out a little bit. Okay, let's just quickly fix this error also. Where is it? Set brush from texture. So we can't set brush from texture. That's the issue here. And it appears it's because this is not valid. So I'm gonna do no. I'm gonna drag this in here. Is valid. No. Can't I make this valid from there? No, because it's not an object. Set. Okay, we're calling this before it's set somewhere. Access non-change read set class from property held item. Okay, so this is not working. We can't get the class from this for some reason. Let me just pause quickly again. All right, I found the issue. I fixed it, but I fixed it in a stupid way, but that's fine for now. The issue is that in our inventory component, these ones were empty by default, so they were none. The best fix is probably, I don't know, it works. I just created a new item. I just created a new item, duplicated an old item, called it empty holder item, just made it black. It's just an empty item. And then in the inventory component, I just set the default ones to the empty holder item so that it doesn't return. So as I said, the access none returns nothing, but now it returns the empty holder item, so it's not going to create any errors, which is fine. And we should still be able to pick up and override it. There we go. And no issues. That was a long video, 45 minutes, and that's what happens. It's complicated stuff. As always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.